All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio. Thank you for joining us. We have a great show today, and as always, you can email us at arilewishow@hotmail.com. For some people, Kol Nidre was a few weeks ago. For Cubs fans, it will begin again tonight. On the line right now, arguably, I don't think there really is an argument, Israel's number one Cubs fan, Gil Hoffman. Gil, welcome back to the program.
Pleasure to be with you, Ari.
Now, I saw you, fans don't know this, but I saw you Erev Rosh Hashanah. You had a Cubs jersey on, as you do tonight. You were a believer back then. Are you a believer now, going into this one-game playoff?
Absolutely. The Cubs are the hottest team in baseball. The momentum is definitely going in the Cubs' direction. They've got a pitcher who set a record for least runs given up in the entire second half of the season. It's all going on.
You know, before we go talk about the National League, you had the American League one-game playoff yesterday, and CeCe Sabathia couldn't pitch because he went into rehab for his drinking. Cubs fans don't go to rehab for their drinking because they don't think it's a problem, right?
Look, this is a team that's not injured. All of their stars are playing, and they've just gotten better and better as the course of the year has gone on. No crises. No worries. It's been really beautiful to watch.
Well, you know, I was thinking this earlier today. I would argue, and I want to get your opinion, obviously, is this game the biggest game since the Bartman game in 2003?
Yeah, look, I mean, they were in the playoffs in 2008, but they didn't win anything. 2003, a really good team. They were ahead in this series, and then you had that unfortunate incident of fan interference. That was a great opportunity that year, but this year is a better opportunity, and that was an old team. This is a very young team. We're in it to stay, Ari.
Do you think? I guess you know. Obviously, you're a Cubs fan, diehard through and through. But honestly, the beginning of this season, did you really think they make the playoffs?
At the beginning of the season, I thought, okay, we've still got some time. You know, we're rebuilding. We rebuilt, and some of the young guys came up earlier than expected. And like when they called up, they like apologized for it. They said we knew they need more time, but then they started hitting, and then people forgot about all the apologies, and they just kept getting better.
All right, now the game is going to be tonight, 3 in the morning Israel time, correct?
3:08.
3:08 knows the exact time. So what is your pregame strategy to watch the game? Do you sleep now and make sure you wake up, or stay up all night? How do you go about it?
Yeah, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up at 3. I'm going to watch the whole game, and then tomorrow's kind of not going to be much of a day.
You just have to sacrifice tomorrow. That's just kind of the way it is, right?
I'm planning on sacrificing 3 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week for the next 3 weeks, because I intend to stay in this. This isn't a one-night thing.
Now, do you have something set up where you're going to be watching it with, let's say, other people via, like, you know, friends in Chicago? Somehow you have a Skype set up, or you just by yourself in solitude?
No, I've got a fiance who's being supportive, which is nice. I've got an 8-year-old girl who wrote an essay for her English class about baseball, out of all things, and who is demanding to be woken up for the entire game. We'll see about that. And I've got 3 sisters who are going to be in constant contact on WhatsApp and other ways of communication.
All right. Again, we're speaking with Gil Hoffman, Israel's number one Cubs fan. You're the number one Cubs fan. Who's number 2? Is it Jeremy Mansalton?
Jeremy Mansalton, Ricky Fleischer. We've got our share of, Dan Shapiro, the ambassador of the United States, is a big Cubs fan, and when I tweeted today that I expect the Cubs to win 1-0 in 10 innings, with the starting pitcher of the Cubs, Jake Arrieta, hitting a home run to the game, he retweeted it and gave his own responses on Twitter. So he's a big fan. I know he'll be up all night.
Yeah, that is some prediction, but again, anything is possible. Going forward, again, you expect the Cubs to win tonight. What team do you want to play? What team do you want to stay away from?
I want to play St. Louis. St. Louis is very vulnerable. Their players are all injured. They're stars. They're weak and tired. I don't want to play the Dodgers. The Dodgers have the second and third best starting pitchers in the major leagues right now after Jake Arrieta. In a 7-game series, you got to face them 4 times. They're going to be tough.
You think Jake Arrieta? You think he deserves the Cy Young this year?
Absolutely, 22 wins, led the major league in wins. Uh, he had an ERA in the second half of .86, which is a major league record. Um, Strikeouts, he's fourth in the league, I believe, back of Kershaw, and so no question. And anyway, the second and third best pitchers are both Dodgers. They'll split the vote.
Right, that's most likely. Even though LA's the second biggest market, Chicago is obviously a big market as well. Now, Jake Arrieta, he is the focal point of the game tonight. Who are your X factors though for the game?
It's a manager. Madden can do anything. You never know. We don't know what the lineup is going to be. We don't even what pitchers will be available because he doesn't have to announce the 25-man roster until right before the game. You could end up seeing like a player that hasn't done much all year be the star rather than Rizzo and Bryant, the hitters that have been the stars all year for the Cubs. You look out for Chris D'Onofrio, like a guy that nobody's heard of.
Now, the Cubs' opponent is an old school team like the Cubs that has not had success in a long time. Basically, when Barry Bonds left, that was pretty much it. I mean, do you feel any sympathy, empathy for the team for Pittsburgh?
Absolutely. They had this article on rootability the other day on ESPN, and after the Cubs, of course, the Pirates had the most rootability out of any team in the playoffs because they're a hardworking, blue-collar team with a superstar in McCutchen who is a nice guy, with a pitcher in Garrett Cole who everybody respects. These aren't the Yankees. These are people you can cheer for if you're not from that town.
As a sure, again, speaking with Gil Hoffman, Israel's #1 Cubs fan. So, again, hopefully they win tonight. When the game's over, what do you have some type of celebration, or you just go to work?
You go to Shachrit, man.
Oh, nice. Well, you'd have a lot to thank God about, obviously.
Absolutely, God's involved in this game. You got to believe.
Okay, but if somehow, God forbid, the Cubs lose, you would still go to Minion, right?
I don't know. Maybe I'd go to Minion because there'll be other Cubs fans, and we can give each other the man hugs and cry to God together. We'll see.
All right. What's interesting is that after the Red Sox broke their curse, everyone then turned their eyes toward Chicago and said, okay, now it's your time. I mean, do you believe this is the time? This is the year they go to the World Series?
Okay. Well, so, again, this is a team built to be good long term. Theo Epstein, who, obviously built the Red Sox, took them to the World Series, knows how to build a baseball team, built them up from the bottom up. There are still stars in the minors who are going to be great. It doesn't have to be this year. No one ever thought it had to be this year. There's some pressure because of the Back to the Future prediction back in 1985, then in 2015, the Cubs would be in the World Series, and people have been talking about that, sharing that clip on social media all year long, which you can find on my Facebook page, not for the first time this year. Other than Back to the Future and just the expectation that's been built up over the last few months, there's a lot less pressure than there normally would be for a playoff team. We know if it's not this year, it's going to happen.
All right. You definitely believe in that, and I could tell seeing you around town and your voice, etc., you definitely believe it's coming. Okay, during the game, are you going to be tweeting, or is everything shut off? Except with the conversation with the other Cubs fans.
Yeah, so I'll be in WhatsApp with my sisters. I might tweet here or there. I've got 9,600 followers on Twitter. They're expecting stuff on Israeli politics, not in Cubs. Whenever I tweet anything related to any of my sports teams on Twitter, my follower number goes down. But I kind of like it that Ambassador Shapiro talks to me through Twitter. It's the only place he does. So maybe I'll try to stir him up.
All right, very good. So can people write to you? Are you happy if they do that during the game? They tweet you, Gil Hoffman?
And Gil _Hoffman. I'll be happy to hear from people who heard your show and who are up there between 3 and 6 a.m. Israel time, or wherever they are around the world. I know you've got your followers in Southeast Asia that love your show, so whatever works.
Indeed, and shout out to all the fans out there who love my show and love the Gil's on. All right, so again, the game is tonight, 3:08 Israel time. If you're in the Holy Land, want to stay up for it. We know Gil will, and other Cuts fans in the Holy Land. So, Gil, one more time, your final prediction is 10 innings.
Cubs,
Go ahead.
10 innings, Cubs 1-0.
And the starting pitcher who you believe will win the Cy Young this year, or at least should, will hit the home run in the 10th.
Look, he has hit more home runs than he has given up in the second half of the season. That's just amazing.
That's incredible. That's kind of like the movie The Scout. You remember that movie where Brendan Fraser plays the Yankee pitcher? He was kind of hidden, and the scout breeds him in, and he hits a home run, but he pitches a perfect game. So he actually hit more home runs than he allowed runs, even. Of course, that was a movie, but this is close. So there we go. So shout out to Jake if he's listening, getting ready for tonight's game. Gil, thanks for being on. We know you're ready, you're excited. Go get some sleep, enjoy, and we will certainly. I'm going to try to stay up for the game as well, so I might be tweeting with you. We'll see.
Pleasure, Art.
Thank you so much. Be well.